Hello, everyone. Welcome back to today's episode of Speak to Transform. You are in for a treat today. Have you ever struggled with forgiving someone? Have you ever wondered why it's so important to forgive someone and what is the impact it has? Well, today's guest is all about helping you understand the power of forgiveness. And she is an author. I'm going to bring her on here in a minute, but I'm going to just tell you a little bit about her. She is an author, a transformational speaker, a mental health specialist. She is zealous for helping people find healing within through the knowledge and skills seasoned by time and experience in the field for ongoing learning. And her passion is for healing, ignited by the love of God and people. She serves in her local church and her community, and she believes that every individual has a gift and a calling to serve and love one another as Christ loves us. So let me welcome to the stage Rosette Felebrico-Singson. Hello, Rosette.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to your show. It is such a privilege.
Well, it's my honor to have you and to hear all about this amazing book that you just released and how it all came about. So, before we get into the nuts and bolts of in the book, I would love for you to share a little bit about yourself and how you came to write this book. Like, what prompted you to write on this topic?
Okay. Yeah, I remember about 18 years ago, 18 to 19 years ago, like I was really struggling, to find joy, to find happiness. And that because of what happened to me in the past. So I was filled with anger, bitterness, resentment. Until one morning when I woke up, I realized, you know what? This is so tiring. Like,
Mm,
I'm so tired waking up in the morning, being angry, being bitter, and then throughout the day, the same, being angry, being bitter, and then go to bed, the same, bitter and angry. So I thought, I have to do something. This
mm,
has to come to an end. Like, this is not the kind of life that I want.
wow.
So I remember, like, a few months ago, I have a friend. I have a friend who kept on telling me about Jesus, about being born again, about having a relationship with him. Sorry. Um, and then I thought that morning, why don't I try that?
Hmm.
So right away I called her and I said, hey, are you going to have a Bible study today or this week? When is the next one? And then she said, tonight. Oh, well, then pick me up tonight. So she did. And then I went to their Bible study, and it's there that I experienced like something that I haven't experienced before.
Hmm.
I know there is a God, even before I knew it, that there's a God. But then the God that I knew at that time was, you know, was somebody, when you go to a building, there he is, the statue, you know. But then since that night, my life has changed.
Hmm.
So every day it's different. Every day I can smile. And then one day I thought, I don't want to be selfish. Like, I think there are so many people in the world who 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 have experienced or who are experiencing the anger, bitterness, and resentment
Mhm.
I have experienced. And you know what? I want to share with them on how my life has changed.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
I started creating like the words that I'm going to write down. But then for like for the past 15 years before the completion of that book, I felt like, you know what? There's still something missing. But then in 2022, that was during the COVID season, and it was my fifth time being isolated because I'm a nurse. So, of course, I was always exposed, right, to the virus. So, I was always quarantined and isolated. And on that fifth isolation, I heard I heard an audible voice saying, you know what? It's about time.
Mm.
So I used that time being quarantined, writing the book.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
until I got
So,
it completed.
yes, so powerful. So, what were some of the things, if you don't mind sharing, maybe some of the things that you had to, that were preventing you from, because you were talking about how you were go to bed bitter, you'd wake up bitter and angry. What were some of the things that were, and if you want to share, it's up to you, like some of the things, because I think it might help people who may also be struggling with some of those things that you were having a hard time, or when you actually came to understand about forgiveness, was
Mhm.
there a process that you had to walk in order to be able to fully release people, forgive them?
Yes. So to answer your first question, what had been preventing me to forgive or to experience the opposite of anger, bitterness, and resentment? It's it's the strong desire to get even to those people
Mm,
who hurt me, like
yes.
vengeance, revenge, all those stuff. Like the idea or the mentality that, you know, you hurt me, hurt you back. I have
Mm,
something even worse than what you
yeah.
did to me. All those stuff. But then still, I'm not finding the contentment or the joy that I've been looking for. That's why, like what I said, that morning I called my friend. And when
Mhm.
I experienced the saving power of Jesus Christ, when I accepted Him into my life, then that's when I realized, you know what? I need to forgive. It
Mm,
doesn't matter if they will ask me to forgive them, I am going to forgive them.
mm,
But it's not that easy. It didn't happen overnight. I had to pray. I had to pray to God. I had to ask Him to teach me how to forgive. And
mhm,
upon receiving Christ into my life, that was the first prayer request that I had. Like,
mm,
Lord, please help me how to forgive. Show me
mm.
how to do it. It was a
Wow.
process.
Very much, and I love what yeah, I love what you said there in terms of teach me how to forgive, because
Mhm,
that's so true. Because there's a lot of misunderstanding around this subject of
mhm,
forgiveness. Even people who have come into a place of faith, there's
mhm.
still a lot I see a lot of misunderstanding what forgiveness is and what it isn't. And so what are some of the things that you learned about forgiveness that maybe were ideas that you didn't know before?
Um, there are so many things that I've learned, but the most important one is that forgiving is not about the person who hurt you.
Mm,
It's about you. You are favoring yourself when you forgive.
mm,
Why? Because if you forgive, you're opening the door to your blessings.
hmm.
Like imagine a flood, like a body of water that's just outside um outside the wall, and then once you crack that wall and then remove the wall, like that body of water will come gushing into you. So it's like the blessings that
Wow.
came gushing into me, and that's what I've experienced.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So removing the dam that's holding the water, the blessings back.
Yes.
Wow. That's so good. And so tell me a little bit about what what forgiveness does when, so like I'm just thinking about people, and I know I've had to forgive people in my life as well as I came to faith, and it was definitely an area I had to learn about. And I agree, the power of forgiveness is so, so important, like the freedom,
Mhm.
because and I think a lot of people have this misunderstanding that I can't forgive that person because of what they did. And they see it as a trust, I'm never going to trust that person. So why should I forgive them?
Mhm.
And so, can you talk a little bit about the difference between those two?
You know what? True forgiveness comes from the heart. I know, and I've seen lots of people saying, "Oh, I've forgiven him, I've forgiven them," but then their action speaks differently to what their words are saying. So
Mm,
for me, what I've experienced, I'm not saying I'm a saint, I'm an angel, or I'm perfect, but the experience that I had when it comes to forgiveness is that it came from the heart. because that's what I asked the Lord. I want
Mhm.
the true forgiveness, the forgiveness that comes from the heart, anointed by you, Lord. So
Mm.
yeah, and you know what? I've only not experienced happiness, but I've experienced joy and peace. Things
Mm.
that the world was not able to give me before. It was
Mm.
only God and His love and His power that was able
Wow.
to give me joy and peace.
Wow. Wow, that's so good. Yes, and probably more energy, right?
And I learned to smile because before I never smiled. I hated men, I hated people before. Yeah.
Wow.
Even my
Wow.
parents themselves, my siblings, they're afraid to approach me because
Wow.
I was always mad. I was always angry.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine you like that, but that's the grace of God.
Yes.
Wow. You know, so one of the things as well is that, I know a lot of people have a hard time with forgiveness because of many reasons, but I think you've talked about it, and I think we just gonna keep coming back to it, that forgiveness is not so much about the other person, but
Mhm.
it's about you. It's about your freedom,
Mhm.
correct?
Correct. That's correct.
And what about when people don't feel like forgiving? What can they do?
You know what? I cannot force them. Nobody can force them because forgiveness is always a choice. It's a
Mhm.
decision. It's a
Yeah.
determination that comes from the heart.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. It's a
Now,
choice.
sorry. Now, if they're thinking about it or considering about it, then what I can say that they can do is maybe start praying about it and then hanging out with or hang out with people who know about Christ, who have a relationship with Christ, people who will only tell them good things and not
Mhm.
the opposite of forgiveness. And then start going to church because in church you find broken people who were changed by the grace of God, by the power of God, by the love of God.
Mhm.
That's what I can say that they can start doing because those were the things that I started doing.
Mm.
Mhm.
It's so good. You know, I remember when God was teaching me about forgiveness too, I had to choose. So my father was an alcoholic and he used to be very violent towards my mom. So there's a lot of violence and chaos in the home that I grew up with. And I hated my dad. I actually hated him, didn't want anything to do with him. And when I came to know the Lord, I realized I needed to forgive him because it would block the scripture says, God can't forgive us if we're holding unforgiveness towards other people. How can we expect God to forgive us? Because it's a gift. It's a gift that we give to others. And just as God has forgiven me, and I remember him teaching me that, and I did not feel it, but
Mhm.
I chose, just like you talked about, every day, and I said, "Lord, I choose to forgive my dad. Help me to feel it. Help
Mhm.
me to live it out. Help me, teach me how to walk it out. I choose." And I had to do that many days in a row before my heart began to change towards him, and I began to shift and see him as God. And that's really what changed, is I began to see him as God saw him and realized he was a broken man too.
Mhm.
Broken people hurt
Mhm.
people, hurt people, right?
Right.
So
Right.
for me though, just like you were saying, it was a choice I had to make over and over. And I and the freedom came. It changed me. It began to change me
Mhm.
as I made that choice and became free.
That's right.
Yeah, and I'm thinking also of situations where people feel like they they are in a trap of some sorts. I'm just thinking about how when people don't forgive, and I love the analogy you just said about the dam breaking and the blessings of God flowing in, because sometimes I see people and they stay in this victim mentality where That person did that to me, that's why I'm like this. That person hurt me, that's why I'm like this. That's why I can't move ahead because this person. What would you say about that?
You know what? I am not in a position to judge that person because one time in my life, I was also in that position. But then, what I can say now is that, you know what? That's not you. That's
Mm,
not you.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That is
Especially,
beautiful. Go
oh,
ahead. Yeah.
especially if you have Christ in you, then
Mm,
that's not you. You are not a victim. You are a victor.
mm. I love that distinction because it's the identity, right? It comes to the core of the identity.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find that that shifted for you as well? Like when you were in that state of anger and all those and the bitterness that it affected how you saw yourself, your identity? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, that's my gosh. I know most of my friends, my close friends, have noticed the change since I've received Christ into my life because every day instead of thinking, oh, I'm a victim, they hurt me. Yeah. No, what I was declaring every day is that I'm a new creation in Christ
Mm,
Jesus and I am wonderfully and fearfully created in his image.
mm.
Yeah.
So good, so good. Well, let me just bring up your book here. And is your book on Amazon, Rosette?
Yes, it is. It's
Awesome.
in Amazon.
I love the cover. It's so beautiful. The Power of Forgiveness, Stand and Be
It's
Strong.
strong.
So good. And what is that the best place for people to go to buy your book?
Yes, Amazon for now, but there these coming days I'll be going to some churches and to some places to promote as well. But of
Mhm.
course, not everyone can access that. But like what you said as well, Amazon
Yes.
is the most accessible at this time.
Yes, and you also are a speaker, and
Yes.
of course, that's an opportunity for someone who is listening today that you might want to bring Rosetta in. You may want to hire has her for your event and to invite her to be one of your speakers. Of course, she can bring her book, and you can get access to it there as well. So, how can they contact you if they wanted to reach out to you to book you for a speaking engagement?
They can contact me via my email address. It's called rosette@gmail.com. And my cell phone number, it's 403-872-7913.
Okay, okay, awesome. Well, we'll put the email address down below, but we're probably not going to put your phone number down below because I don't want you to get harassed by people.
Yeah.
So, but yes, so that is good. We'll put that on there, and yeah. So if you want to, also on social media, reach out. She's on Instagram as well as Facebook, so you can also reach her there. Probably be a safer way to do it.
Yes.
Rosette, I am so excited for you. I know that this is just the beginning of your journey and of getting this message out there and helping others to understand and to walk in, not just understand it, but to walk in the power of forgiveness because you have lived it, you've experienced it. And that's why you are so passionate, but you carry such an authority and an anointing in this area because you are living proof
Mhm.
that it of the power of forgiveness and how someone's life completely be changed. And, I've only known you as a joyful, peaceful woman, and that is very attractive, in anyone who knows you. And so to know that you were that way, obviously, it's such a powerful testimony of the love of God and the forgiveness. So, any last words you want to leave with our listeners today before we sign off?
You know what? Always remember, my dear brothers and sisters, that life is a beautiful journey.
Hmm.
In spite of all the challenges, the trials that we face, at the end of the day, with the right approach, with the right mindset, life will remain a beautiful journey.
Wow, that is gorgeous. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for listening and tuning in today. Make sure to share this episode with your friends.
Mhm.
Check out Rosette's book. And this is the kind of book that everyone needs because at different points in our life, we may be challenged with actually forgiving someone who have hurt us or offending us, or something has happened where we find that there's a breach in a relationship. So I want to encourage you to go seek it out, even to give it as a gift to family members, to your children, your grown children, whoever you know needs it, because it is a life transformational message that needs to get out there. And be sure to contact Rosette as well to come and speak at your event. Thank you, Rosette. So good to have you.
You're welcome, Lisa.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
As you're listening today, you may have felt prompted to say, I want to become a much better speaker. I want to be able to speak with confidence, clarity, and transformational impact. I want to invite you to check out the link in the comments below, wherever you're listening to this. Your voice is an instrument of transformation and needs to be heard. So let it be heard.